At the beginning of this week, when we had the snow, I was ready to leave town. It was too early, too cold, too much. And today it felt like kind of an early spring day, so I thought, oh, if my mind's come back to where it is, to where it needs to be. So I'm glad we have this warm snow today. I'm sure half of you feel the same way. And I'm, I won't even talk about that part. Okay, so today I'm trying not to think, but I wanted to share some things and have some of you share things that are happening with you. But this is the Thanksgiving week is coming, and to me, Thanksgiving's always been my favorite holiday. I've always liked it, and I'm really lucky because I have family in the South, but I'm always up here on Thanksgiving. So I have Thanksgiving dinner with my ex-in-laws, my ex family, but they're really my family up here. So, and my brother-in-law loves to cook. He's just like his mother was. He loves to cook, and he doesn't want anybody spoiling his menu by bringing other food. So he doesn't want, you can only bring things like wine, and I don't drink, so I bring soda, but he doesn't want anything that's going to be like a potluck. So I consider myself really blessed that way. And
how big is the dining room table?
It's really big.
Does it have an extra chair?
It benches on each side so we can cram people in. So that's always an amazing gift to me because I've done enough cooking in my life. I figure I don't. So that's one thing that I'm always grateful for. And then my son is a chef, so if there's any holiday cooking at my house, it's Stephen making cookies or cooking if we want to do an extra meal on the weekend. So, the blessings just keep rolling down for me. And this year I was lucky. In October I went to visit my mom and my niece and her two boys, and she lost her husband last March, and her two little boys were coming, so we had planned it as a time to get together so I could see them and we could all see my mom. But it turned out that the whole family came together. So my other brother, her dad, came from Houston with his wife, and my nephews and nieces and my own kids came. So we had the whole family on that side there, and we did Thanksgiving again. That was our big we were there for about 4 days, but we planned Sunday to be an early Thanksgiving. Again, I didn't have to cook anything. I have a couple of nieces who took care of all the food. So we had like a traditional Thanksgiving because there were baseball playoffs on TV and football, and everybody could go outside and run around and play football too. So it was like I hadn't had a Thanksgiving like that in a long time. So I've already had one, so I feel really like I've already had more abundance than should happen to a person. But I'm having more. So what that reminds me of, though, is often how many people don't have any of that. They might have ex-family, but they may not have good relationships with them. I'm really fortunate that way, including with my ex-husband, who's part of that same group, and to have my other family all together in one place is almost a miracle in itself. So there are so many people. I think when we can have those warm, wonderful moments in our life and we recognize it, that's the ideal time for us to also recognize how many people don't have that. They've had it and lost it, or they've never had it, or for some reason they may have broken ties, or they may have their own problems that keep them from being able to be with their family or their loved ones. And it's whenever we have those moments of having so much for ourselves, I don't think we should feel guilty about that. I think we should cherish it and probably cook and contribute in ways that I don't have to do. But it's also a time for us just to have our awareness be really focused on people and animals and creatures and spirits of how many are not as lucky as we are, whether it's our good karma or whether it's just our luck of being so far in a relatively safe country to live in, and being able to have the connections that we have with loved ones and friends. Whatever it is, there are so many people that for whatever reasons don't have it. And I think this is a wonderful time of year to focus our prayers and our meditation on those people. And sometimes it's easy to forget about that, but I know a lot of you do a lot of things over the holidays. So I wanted to have people share maybe things they're doing that could give other people ideas of things to do.
Well, today marks 7 years that I've been sober of narcotics.
Thank you for sharing that.
I had PTSD, and my family, my extended family, and I are not very close. However, I did reach out to my grandmother and my aunt, and we are slowly binding together as a family.
That's so wonderful.
We're trying to mend our family after trauma and stuff.
And be patient with it, right? But you're the one reaching out. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. That's encouraging, because so many of us have those kind of reasons for being separated from our families, right? There's either problems on either sides with addiction or mental health issues or PTSD. These are things that we all live with someone in our family all the time. So thank you for reaching out to yours and for sharing. Diane?
I'm glad you get along so well with your family. I always find interacting with people very difficult. There's different personalities, different goals, so I always find the holidays is my chance to practice acceptance and letting go, because it's, letting go of, there's so many things around the holidays that are out of our control. And so it's a time to practice that, letting go of attachment and letting go of not trying to force your own way.
Yeah.
And just accepting people as they are. Because, you run into a lot of people during the holidays that you don't see all the time. And they have their own routines and their own lives. And you have to accept them as they are.
It is. It's a good practice, right? Oh, I thought June, you were just rubbing your head. Okay.
So one thing that you said was that you feel fortunate that there are people that are cooking for you and stuff. I often have that same feeling. And sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable. How can I give back? So I think that this time of year usually makes me think of ways that I could just, in really small ways, help out people around me. So it could be doing the dishes after someone is cooking, or taking out the garbage, or some little thing that can be other things easier for people.
Yeah, that's a wonderful, I'm glad you said that, because those become not little things, but when you think of like after the meal. That's the role I've taken on as dishwasher. And
I actually enjoy it. It's like meditating.
and you have you have a good time with the other person who's helping you do that, right? So those are ways to connect with people, and that's just as important as other chores. So there are always ways we can help.
One thing I do with my students around this time of season is write thank you cards for the people that have helped you to be where you are. So thinking outside of yourself and being thankful for the things and the blessings and the people that have helped you along the way. So
That's great, because thank you cards are almost non-existent because that's pretty much, and it's not just for kids, right? But we thank each other on text messages or online, but we don't. But sending a thank you card, that's a big deal, and that's a wonderful way for them to think about that.
In my family, we tend to have a lot of warriors. I don't know if
Did you say warriors or worriers?
So myself, I've tried really hard to identify that and try to break the cycle of that, especially with my children. My mother lives with me, and so for Thanksgiving, we start the Thursday before we do a negativity fast.
I love it.
And I have a lot of clients, so I invite anyone I know. And so basically it gives me the opportunity to more freely, if someone's being negative and speaking, I just kind of sit there and smile.
Uh-huh.
I don't have to engage, they're not expecting it all like that, but it's fun. Because I don't have to even go there.
Yeah. And you've given yourself permission to have that day when you don't have to go there, Yeah, but it's good if you start with that one day where it's okay to not respond or not, because we get caught up in it, right? It's easy for me. That's a good idea, negativity fast. Sometimes you have to get rid of some generations of people for that.
A little edgy for you.
Who else has some ideas? Diane?
One thing I like to do around this time is I like to visit the elderly in my family, because a lot of times they're housebound, and they haven't been visited in a long time. So, I choose somebody to go visit, and they haven't had visitors in a long time, and they really appreciate a visit.
That's a really great idea. There are a lot more people who are alone than we have any idea of, and they're not always the people that you know are alone. They may be people that you see out and about, but there are a lot of people who a visit like that is that's a great gift. Uh-huh.
My grandpa just had emergency surgery, and he won't be home in time for Thanksgiving. So we're going to make him a plate and bring it to the hospital.
Oh, that's great. Make sure the hospital knows what you're doing. I'm kidding you. I'm sure the food you bring him will be healthier than the hospital's food. Sorry. Oh, cranberry sauce is one thing I can't. I'm sneaking it this year because he doesn't do that. So I'm just going to have to bring it in and hide it. Yeah, and it's going to show up on the table next to me. It'll have to be from scratch if I bring it. I know he'd take it off the table if it wasn't.
That's along the lines of what you were saying about visiting relatives.
it's not just, ring the doorbell. We try to take the time to talk to them, and often we'll be invited in. And it's just for that 10 minutes or 15 minutes of interaction with just another human being. We don't know them, and they don't know us, but it's the warmth that you feel from the engagement, right, and the caring is so amazing.
Sometimes you get conversations that you never knew that, and stayed with you for a lifetime too.
Mm-hmm.
I met one couple that I had a conversation with. I mean, they came over from Europe, and they pretty much built Crystal Lake, and they had been married for 60 years, and it was just an amazing conversation. And I only visited with them for about 20 minutes, but almost all of their family had died, and they survived. And they were and one was in the late 80s, and the gentleman was in the 90s. And almost all their kids had died previously deceased to them, and their grandkids had moved away. So it was, they're still in the area, but they don't have anybody coming anymore because everybody's moved away.
Yeah, that's what happens. If we live a long life, we can have everything go away. That's kind of the nature of things. So that contact is really meaningful for you. And that's what we realize is meaningful, or more meaningful for us even. So it's not a one-way thing. We aren't giving. We're engaging in a reciprocal, just a real dialogue, right? And so we're getting as much as we're giving, if not more. I know we're going to have Buddha kids come up in a minute. I have two things that I'd like to share. Most of you know I'm volunteering on a care committee at the jail for the detained immigrants. And the group is the Interfaith Community of Detained Immigrants. It's ICDI. And Amanda Garcia, who's a member of our Sangha, is an attorney. Now she's an attorney there. And she started a couple of years ago, and she brought a training for volunteers here to the temple. And I think there were a few of us from the temple, and a lot of the other people who took the training were from the different churches in the area. Not all ministers, but just people with an interest. And so I still see all those volunteers, a lot from Bethany Lutheran, and the Rabbi Marilee Gordon, who was the rabbi at the Jewish synagogue in Ridgefield. She's been doing it for years, so I see her all the time there. And lots of people that are also probably going to be at the tomorrow night. The Interfaith Thanksgiving service is at the Unitarian Church this year. That's right in McHenry. And I want to put a plug in for that because I haven't seen a lot of publicity for it. But that's a wonderful, wonderful service to go to. And the Unitarians are about as close to us as, we're really like twins. They're
Fantastic program.
Yeah, and I'm sure, knowing it's there, the music will be outstanding. And if you haven't been to that's the group that own this building, and we bought the building from the Unitarians when they were gifted the property and the buildings in McHenry. And it's just beautiful what they've done with it. But that's a community that overlaps with ours in so many wonderful ways. So, but we did it for about 3 years. We had the Thanksgiving service here, and everybody loved it, and it was time to rotate again. So now, this year, the Unitarians have it. So please go to that. It'll be wonderful, and it'll really get you in the right, and bring anybody you want to bring. It's a very ecumenical service, but it'll just really bring the holiday season to you and give you some real inspiration. But anyway, that's a plug for that. I hope I see a bunch of you there, but that's one thing.
What time does it start?
It starts at 7. Mm-hmm. And it's right on, is it Bull Valley? It's on Bull Valley and what would be walk up going south towards McHenry. So, it's 7. The program's usually about an hour, and then they have refreshments and food, and if you want to bring something to share, you can do that, but it's just open for everyone. And then any donations that people give that night all go to the different food pantries in the area, which is another wonderful thing to support, because there are a lot of people who use the food pantry, and it really people even who have some things, it really adds some, kind of fleshes out their food budget. But as a volunteer, I've gotten really invested in the work at the jail, and it's always working with the detained immigrants. It's always just sometimes in between times I go, I think, oh, do I want to keep doing this? Because it's really profound work. It really hits at every level, physically and emotionally. But then I go and I think, what else would I want to be doing that would feel as worthwhile? But they sent out, I am going to be, I'll bring and have I don't know if I can set up my own table. Bante's kind of got the market cornered here. But this year they'll have holiday cards. They had the jails there are 5 jails in the region that we're in. McHenry County is one of there are 2 in Illinois who have detainees, and McHenry County Jail, the jail here in Woodstock, is the largest. And then there are 3 in Wisconsin. And in Wisconsin, they allow the inmates to buy colored pencils or crayons in the commissary. So they have a contest for a design for a holiday card. And I've just seen a couple of those. They haven't brought them out to us yet, but I saw some almost inadvertently, and they're pretty amazing artwork. And then they've designed them to be the front of a card like this. But it's not that this is a Thanksgiving card I got, but this isn't done by inmates, I don't think. Anyway, those cards are pretty amazing. So I really want you to be able to see them, if not buy them, when I bring them in a week or 2. But they sent all of the volunteers a Thanksgiving card, and they have in it a Thanksgiving prayer for your table. And it came from the Interfaith Worker Justice group. But this is a prayer that they suggest, and I just wanted to share it with you. Spirit of seed and harvest, we pause to give thanks for the table set before us and the food that graces it. In a moment we will eat this food, harvested from many parts of the nation and world. It will be transformed into the flesh and blood of our bodies. Keep us mindful of the many people who labor in field and factory to bring us this food. Help us remember that we are all connected, and that what hurts one of us affects all of us. From the bounty and nourishment of the meal, may we work to build community, abolish poverty, care for one another, and fight injustice for those who feed us through their labor. Amen. So, think about that. Think about all the people who are not at the table, wherever you are this coming weekend. Whatever kind of meal you eat, you may not call it Thanksgiving or whatever, but try to remember at the meals you have, the people who aren't at the table and that are trying to trying to make it and say a prayer for them, and especially the people who help bring that food to us. So thank you for all of your thoughts, everybody.